In this lesson, I want to look at the coronary arteries as they come off of the aorta. These are the vessels that supply the heart muscle itself, the myocardium, with blood supply as it comes out of the systemic circuit and comes back to the heart. So we can give an idea. We remember that arteries carry blood away from the heart, but coronary arteries come away from the heart and back to the heart muscle itself. So if we just remind ourselves that here is the aorta, as blood will leave the aorta out to the systemic circuit. So that will go out and up the arteries that come off of it, brachiocephalic trunk, right, left, the right subclavian vein, the brachiocephalics, and the common carotid. That we can see these particular vessels, and you guys remember that already from the great vessels. But if we were to remind ourselves that, yes, as I erase that blood is leaving there, but we have two major coronary arteries that come off. And the first one we'll look at is on the right side. It is the first branch off of the aorta, and it comes right about here. And it will pass in this large septum laying between the right atrium and the right ventricle. This is the right coronary artery, drawn in red. Now I'm going to color these in different colors because we're looking at arteries only, and it doesn't really matter what color I draw them so we can see this, but as that emerges off, the right coronary artery will wrap around the back of the heart, and we'll see bits of it coming later when I look at the posterior view. We're looking anteriorly on the heart right now. Now there's a branch that we can see. I'm going to draw it in green that comes off the right coronary artery and wraps around on this side of the heart. And we'll see it down here near the apex, near the point. And this one, if I color it in green, this one is the marginal artery. Now, is this the only one that you guys will have to know down at the bottom? If I color it in, it's about as good as we can on this little whiteboard app I'm using. And we'll have various small branches coming off of it to supply blood to this large portion. Now, the right coronary artery supplies an entire right half. If we get a blockage in the right coronary artery, you can see you will lose half of the heart muscle automatically, and this is what we call the widowmaker. And coming from here, the marginal, you would lose a large chunk of what it actually will supply as it brings blood into that section. If I start us off with the left coronary artery, it comes off a little higher up than the right does, and we can see that I'm going to draw an orange here. And it has a huge section, but it stops about halfway here as we have our left carotid artery, left coronary artery. And it will stop early on here where it will take two divisions. One I'm going to draw in blue that will go around the back. The circumflex artery goes around back there. The other one, I'm going to draw it in purple, comes down over the entire front, and this is the anterior interventricular artery. It supplies off of the left, the entire front left side, the anterior the left side, and it'll give off small branches as well. So this is a fairly large artery, and you guys will note that. Now, if we're so far on the front that we can look at this, I'm going to pause. I'm going to add up a posterior view of the heart, of the vessels that we can see on the heart, but these are just the coronary arteries, cardiac veins, and this gives you an idea of their generalized location. And then I'm going to pull up a posterior look, and we're going to trace the right around, and we'll see the posterior interventricular artery. We will trace the circumflex artery around, and as we look at those, we can see a continuation of that vessel as well. Now, secondly, you will be able to notice the vessels that come around there. So if we know the left coronary artery in orange gives off the anterior interventricular artery, the right will give off the posterior. And that's what we're going to be continuing on later on. So as we pause, and I'm going to pull up a new diagram. Now you see a posterior view of the heart. So let's reference ourselves so we know where we're sitting here. Here, circled in blue, is the vena cava, inferior vena cava, and the superior vena cava, blood coming in from there. The superior vena cava on top, the inferior vena cava, inferior here, superior here. Here are the pulmonary veins, seen on the back side. So that gives us a nice way to orient ourselves as to where we can find where we are sitting and what we're looking at here. So we have now, since we're on the back, we kind of flip-flop around. Remember, I drew the right coronary artery in red. Well, the right coronary artery continues on here. So I'm going to color this one in. And we'll stop it right about there. And that's a pretty good stopping point for this vessel will generally be anatomically. Now, we gave you guys, now you will see this will take a quick direction turn, and this one I can do in gray. And it'll come right down the middle with a very large artery, and of course they narrow down as they go. And I want to color this one in gray. And this is the posterior interventricular artery. Let me give off some branches on that one. And this will supply the right posterior aspect of this, supplying the vessels there. Now the left, continue on with circumflex, and the circumflex you'll see a little bit of that, and it will give off some vessels and continue on down, but no other named parts that we need to concern ourselves with, at least in A&P2 lab. There are other names and other vessels that are named, but we do not concern ourselves with those. And so the circumflex was shown in orange, and this generally shows us all of the arteries that we can actually see. In later videos, I'll show you vessels that we can see in terms of the veins, and we'll look at the we'll look at the cardiac veins in the next video. And it is possible to take both of these and put them all together if you have more colors. But in this one, for simplicity's sake, this works very well in instructional videos. And you guys should be able to kind of look at these two together. And if you can draw these on, you'll be pretty good on looking at the models as well. And this concludes my video that looks at how to draw, looking at the lesson concerning ourselves with coronary arteries found in the heart. Thank you.